Hi, and welcome back to my channel, The No Channel. I'm Bernadette Johnson. I'm also known as Kazaya Kizzy. Today I'm coming back to you with a very brief message, and I plan to really be brief this time. But today I'm coming to you with another one of the hard conversations. As if you saw my previous video, I titled it, It's Time to Have the Hard Conversations. And I just might create a playlist and just call that playlist Hard Conversations. And if you want to know what the hard conversation is, well, you just go back to my previous video that I just named. And when you see, hard conversations either in the video title or as part of that playlist, you'll know I'm talking about what I was talking about in the previous video about the struggle within a struggle. But since I want this video to be short, I'm not going to elaborate on it here. But anyway, as you can see in the title, I just want to address the two cases with the unaliving of Ashlee Jenae and also the unaliving of Dr. Cerina Fairfax. And I'm not going to so much talk about those cases, but I'm just going to talk about how those two cases exposed about the pro-black community. Now, the unaliving of Ashley Jenae, this happened before the what happened with Dr. Cerina Fairfax. And Ashley Jenae, she was actually was in Tanzania. She and her fiance was in Tanzania, and that's where she got a life. You know, she's from here, from the United States, but she was unalived in alleged, unalived. It's not She was unalived in Tanzania, Zanzibar, Tanzania, by her white fiance, whereas Dr. Cerina Fairfax, she was unalived by her black husband, former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax. But now, when it happened with Ashley Jenae, she's also too. She was a successful YouTube influencer, social media influencer, and Dr. Serena Fairfax, she was a very successful dentist. And if I'm not mistaken, she had her own practice. So both of these women, they were probably from two different walks of life, but they were both successful. Ashley Jenae was successful in her own right. Say what you want to about the way she chose to make her living, but she was successful in her own right as a YouTube influencer. But anyway, not to go too much into depth about that, I just want to talk about how those two cases, what they expose about the pro-black community that so many have been screaming about for years, but it's been falling on deaf ears. But today, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Now, you know how whenever a black woman is in an interracial relationship, and of course, that's not looked upon favorably in the black community, but whenever she's in a racial relationship, especially if the man is white, sometimes she gets backlash and criticism from the black community. They always say, "Oh, that man is going to end up unaliving you," and so to speak. And the same was said about Ashley Jenae. Different ones were posting warnings to her, "Oh, that man is going to end up unaliving you." And then now that it happened, you had different ones, having a field day, saying, "See, that's what she get for that crossing, the racial line, dating interracially." And some actually called her a divester. And if I'm not mistaken, divester is a black woman who swear off of dating black men. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of what divester is. I never really looked it up, but I just heard it talked about on social media. So that's a simple definition, just a black woman who swears off from dating black men. She dates men of other races exclusively. And anyway, so you had different ones, especially the pro-black community, and especially pro-black men, and it was women too, that was saying, see, that's why she gets. So it wasn't a whole lot of sympathy. But yet you had different women, like the BWE women, that means Black Women Empowerment. Black Women Empowerment, that's what the BWE stands for. You had them saying that actually a black woman is more than likely, far more likely, to be unalived by a black man, because black women mainly, I mean, the vast majority of black women who are in relationships, they're in relationships with black men. And then they were also talking about the high unaliving rate of black women in, as far as like an intimate partner homicides, how high it is. But that wasn't really being considered, because everyone was so on what she shouldn't have got with that white man. But the thing is, and as they were having their so-called field day about Ashlee Jenae, and of course, different ones were talking about also too. I want to throw in the Nancy Mateo, the vice mayor in Florida, who was unalived by her husband, who was black, and they was trying to compare that. Well, what about Nancy Mateo? Her husband was black, and he unalived her too. But for some reason, they still, was saying, well, Ashley shouldn't have done this. Ashley shouldn't have done that. She should have known better. And as they were ramping up having their field day, I mean, in the middle of their field day about Ashlee Jenae, here come a high profile couple where it was a murder suicide. I mean, this is a high profile couple. And the husband was black. And I'm going to tell you this, that was not a coincidence. See, when the Most High wants us to start paying attention to things that are going on in our community, he or she allow things to happen in a way that we can't just ignore and dismiss as just, oh, that's just a coincidence. No, it's no coincidence that what happened with Justin Fairfax unaliving his wife and then unaliving himself, it wasn't a coincidence that happened so soon after the Ashlee Jenae unaliving. Because why? Because the Most High want us to see what's wrong in our community. He or she wants us to see the double standard in our community when it comes to black men and black women. And let me tell you, the pro-black movement, and this may be hard for some people to accept, this may offend some people. The pro-black movement has not been a friend to black women. And let me explain why. If you go back, you look at cases, and you look at how the pro-black community responds to certain cases. Of course, they'll rally around a black man all day, every day. As I said in my previous video, the black community, especially the pro-black community, centers the black man struggle. The only time they center the black woman struggle is if the perpetrator is non-black, especially if it's a non-black man. That's the only time, and if you look back, you will see it. But you were just seeing, oh, they were rallying around a black woman. But notice, the only time they really and truly rally around the what happens to a black woman, she's a victim. The perpetrator is non-black. And a lot of us, hadn't noticed that, but I've been noticing that for years. And different women, BWE women, black women empowerment, those type of women, those YouTubers, they've been saying this for years, but they've been dismissed as radical black feminists. oh, they just hate black men. We can't take them seriously. But now you starting to see black women who are not radical. They are starting to see this. They're starting to see the uptick in violence against black women by black men. They're starting to notice this and why it's time. Why? Because the Most High Yah is trying to get our attention to what's wrong in our community. Because if we can't win this internal war that's going on within the black community, we're not going to win the external war against our enemies out on the outside. And that's what she is trying to tell us. We have to take care of this enemy from within, because that's the only way that we are going to win. And so, and the reason you see the difference, and how you see the difference with the respond, how they respond to Ashlee Jenae, they just dismiss her. Oh, that's what she get for getting up with a white man. Whereas with the Justin Fairfax, they're trying their best to spin it to make him some kind of way a victim. They go to, oh, he was dealing with mental illness. And is mental illness a real problem in our community? Is it a real problem amongst black men? Absolutely. I wouldn't deny that one bit. But everything cannot be written off as a mental illness. Because a lot of it, with how it was with the reason why some of these men are crashing out, a lot of times it's not mental illness. It's two words: ego and entitlement. That's what a lot of it ties to, one or both, ego and or entitlement. That's what it's tied to. So no, and I'm not going to just dismiss those who are really dealing with mental illness. Don't insult that community, those who are really dealing with mental illness, because I'm really feeling very sensitive about mental illness, because I just left a seminar about that. So yes, it is real in our community, but not all of these cases where you have black men crashing out, unaliving their partners. Not all of that is mental illness. So I just wanted to bring that message of what these two cases expose about the pro-black community. And if you look at it, the pro-black community is not a true pro-black community. A true pro-black community is concerned about black people across the board, whether it's a black man, black woman, black boy, or black girl. And also it doesn't matter if the perpetrator is black, white, in between, man, woman, boy, or girl. Because why? Their concern is for the welfare of black people, despite whether it's a man or woman, and despite who's a perpetrator. That's what a true pro-black community should be about. So what you see as a pro-black community is actually a pro-black man community. And that's what it's been for all this time. And many are starting to wake up to that fact. And I am so happy that we're waking up. And why? This is the Most High waking us up. Because it's time for us to address the enemy from within, so that we can win the external war, the external war, actually, the external war that we're fighting against. So that's my message for today. So this is one of my hard conversations, and hopefully that this is giving you some food for thought. This is giving you something to think about. And until next time, be blessed.